First, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello everyone, I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now, and I'm showing you this right now for context of what we're going to be discussing. So this is some footage that we actually shot earlier today out at PDX, showcasing Alaska Airlines flight attendants and the union picketing. And as you can see, this was out there at PDX earlier today. And we wanted to have a discussion about this to find out a little bit more about it, about what's going on, and maybe why that's happening, what some of the goals are. And to do so, I'm very happy that this person was able to join us today. I've got Steve Mahler, who's the president of AFA Council 39. And Steve, thanks for being here. And I think before we even get into the discussion just about what was going on, would you mind just explaining a little bit about what the AFA is, the council, and all of that, just for some educational context?
Sure. Thanks for having me, Greg. I appreciate it. So the Association of Flight Attendants, CWA, is the largest flight attendant union in the country, over 50,000 members at of over a dozen airlines. And at each flight attendant domicile at a represented carrier, we have a local council. So I'm the local council president for Alaska flight attendants at Portland International Airport. We've got about 750 members here that fly and work at PDX.
So these are flight attendants who are based here out of Portland, out of PDX.
That's correct.
Okay, and great, thank you for some clarification on that. And then I think also just to go from there, let's talk about what's going on as far as the contracts and the picketing and what exactly was happening there today.
Yes, so flight attendants were at Portland International Airport, as well as 5 other flight attendant domiciles up and down the West Coast and Washington, D.C. Today to call attention to our contract negotiations with our management and management's offer that is just not sufficient. And this is our third informational picket at PDX and across the country. And we have been in contract talks now for over a year, and we've kind of stalled, as you can imagine, on compensation. That's where we're at today.
So it's so this has been going on for a year. You mentioned there the negotiations, and compensation is where it's not at. I don't know if you can talk about any of those details about what you're wanting and what's being offered, or if you can share maybe how far apart you are.
Sure. So, as you can imagine, we go through the contract by section, and some of the easier stuff gets settled or agreed upon early, and then you get down to the nitty gritty. So that comes at the end, right? So, when we kind of stalled out on compensation talks, which was earlier this year, springish, summertime-ish, it basically comes down to management's offer just doesn't get us to where our members need to be. We have fallen behind in terms of our compensation with the cost of living, inflation. Portland, of course, is a high cost of living market. It's very difficult for our members to live here based on our pay scale as of today. Management offers a compensation package that just does not address all of our needs, and we have made counter offers to them. Our counter offers have been deemed not economically feasible, and that's not sitting with our membership very well. Sorry. So we've given them a counter offer that they have labeled as not economically feasible, and that's kind of where we're stuck.
And what are some of the reasons that you disagree with their statement that it's not economically feasible?
Management made a commitment to us earlier this year that they would offer top of industry pay and full retro pay back to the amendable date of our contract. This was December of last year. So we're 1 year past the amendable date of our contract. When we kind of stalled out, they were not offering us what would really be considered top of industry pay. They took some pay components from some parts of our agreement, tried to lump that into the pay scale and say, oh, look, you're right up here at the top with a couple of other airlines that are leading the pack. And some of those elements were never intended to be part of the pay scale. They were other parts of the contract that were negotiated. Yes, they were economic elements, but they were not to be included in the pay scale. They never did give us a comprehensive pay proposal that put us at the top of industry pay. They were tweaking their numbers and making it look like they were, but they weren't. So we had a counter offer, and they rejected that and then dragged their feet for 3 months over the summer. And here we are today one week after an announcement that they want to purchase Hawaiian Airlines for $1.9 billion. So they had plenty of money to come up with an acquisition of another airline, and they have plenty of money to refurbish gates and put in new ticket counters and buy new airplanes and put in new lounges. But they just don't seem to be capable of making an offer to the flight attendants that honors our contribution to the success of the company. They would like us to share in their costs, but not their profits.
How does this compare to other flight attendant? I guess this is specifically dealing with Alaska, but compared to other airlines out there.
So among the top five airlines, we probably fall in at four or five, right? So if you look at the five majors, the three big ones, Southwest and us, uh, we're not anywhere near the top of pay, right? However, Alaska Airlines consistently rates in the top three in terms of the areas that are most important to our passengers. So that includes on-time percentage, flight completion percentage, and overall customer satisfaction. So we regularly fall in the top three. We are regularly number one, but the flight attendant compensation doesn't match that level of service and contribution to the success of the company.
And going forward, so it's been a year of the negotiating. You've got this happening, and I understand there is a vote that's coming up. Can you tell us about what's happening on that end?
Absolutely. So today we announced a strike authorization vote. So this is the first time in 30 years that Alaska Airlines flight attendants have felt the need to call for a strike authorization vote. And the last time we did it was in 1993 when we trademarked our chaos activity. And it's the next step. So it's escalating the process a little bit, and it goes out to the membership soon. There's a period of time that it's open for voting. We anticipate very high participation in that vote, and we anticipate a very strong affirmative vote towards a strike. It sets us up to be able to say, hey, our members are ready to strike if that's what it takes.
In the event that this does go through and a strike authorization is voted for, would that mean potential work stoppage? Would that mean, stoppage of flights coming in and out of PDX potentially?
It could. So there is a defined process that we have to go through. We are in mediated negotiations now, so we have a mediator assigned by the National Mediation Board, and we have to go through a process, and that is a very defined process. But ultimately, we could get to where we are released from negotiations, and we are able to employ our chaos. What that means, we don't know yet. We could do a general strike and strike an entire airport. We could pick specific flights. We could strike flights at outstations. So flights could go and maybe not be able to come back. So there's a lot of different tactics that we can use with self-help, but we're not there yet. We have to get there, and the strike authorization vote's the first step towards that.
And anything else that you think that people should know just about what's going on out there from your perspective, from the flight attendant union perspective?
Yeah, I would just point to the picket line today at PDX. I just came home from there, and we had over 200 flight attendants that came out. These are flight attendants that are on their days off. They were not scheduled to work today. They were not compensated to be there today. It shows a very, very strong support for where we are with our negotiations, and it tells the traveling public and it tells management that we're serious. That management has made a commitment to us that they've reneged on. They're not following through. They're stalling, yet they seem to have plenty of money. And our flight attendants are tired of that. It's time for management to wake up and smell that brand new coffee brand that they chose for our airplanes and do the right thing. Take care of us. We take care of passengers on our flights every day. Management needs to take care of us.
Well, Steve, thank you very much for joining me here today. I mean, I'm sure it's a very busy day for you with everything going on, but I thank you for sharing your side of everything and your opinion and just educating a little bit about what's happening and where your stance is on that. I think it's really important.
Yeah, thanks you. I appreciate the opportunity to speak. And we do have a customer facing page. If you go to afaalaska.org, there's a customer facing page that shows how they can pledge their support, send an email to management. You can take selfies of yourself on airplanes or in airports, and you can tag Alaska Airlines official social media pages and tell them to support their flight attendants and to give us a contract that recognizes our value and our contribution to the company.
All right. Well, Steve, thank you very much. And as things progress, maybe we can catch up a little bit further down the line too. Once we figure out where things are going and into the new year.
Yeah, that'd be great. We're always willing to talk to people. That's what we
Right.
do.
Good. Well, that's what we do here. So thank you very much, Steve. Appreciate it a lot.
Thank you. Have a good rest of your day.
You too. All right. So again, what we get to do here on Fox 12 Now is have these conversations and find out more about what's going on here in our community, and even talking about unions. I will say that I did reach out to Alaska Airlines to see if they also wanted to come on for an interview, and they declined that request. So just wanted to make it clear that I did reach out to the other side as well. All right, we've got more here. Continuing on with Fox 12 Now. If you're watching on our social media channels, you'll see this video end. But at 2 p.m., I'm going to be talking about volcanoes. You've probably seen what's going on there with the the Icelandic volcano. Alaska Airlines is what we're talking about. We're going across the world now. The Iceland volcano that's happening. So we're going to discuss that a little bit, but also what does that compare to the volcanoes here in the Northwest? We're just going to have a good volcano discussion. That's going to be live on YouTube and Facebook. Of course, the app's on the website. They're at 2 p.m. So if you have questions while we're doing that, we've got the USGS who's going to be joining us from the Cascades Observatory. So they'll be talking about that and going into details there. So that's coming up at 2 p.m. In the meantime, if you're watching on the website of the apps, we've got more for you. And if you're on social media, I'll see you again at 2 p.m. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now.